Good morning, students. The next topic for discussion in strategic cost management and performance evaluation of a CA final syllabus is chapter 6, which is titled as decision making. We will hope to cover this topic in today's session. It's an extremely important topic, at the same time extremely interesting topic as well. In a way, I could say one topic where a lot of practical questions are involved. A little bit of theory as well from an examination perspective. Now, this topic broadly includes different aspects to be covered. One on which is CVP analysis, which implies cost volume profit analysis, wherein we try to analyze the interrelationship between cost, volumes, and their respective impact on profit. And I'm sure when you hear the term CVP analysis, immediately it should strike you or ring a bell in the mind that you have read this in your intermediate syllabus in costing as part of a marginal costing. Here in CA final syllabus as part of CVP analysis, different components are again looked into in terms of activity-based CVP analysis or CVP analysis under conditions of uncertainty, etc., etc. And then we also have another angle to the decision making, which is a short-term decision making, wherein it's very critical for you to note that the relevant cost concept is applied virtually in every scenario. And when I mean every scenario, few of which could be as listed in the study material. One, outsourcing decisions. Should the entity make a particular product or outsource it, get it from outside? Then, which can also be referred to as make or buy. Then you have second one, selling at the current stage, or should I further process my product to earn better revenues? Something very similar to what we have learned as joint product costing in CA intermediate syllabus. The third category is minimum pricing decision. What should be the minimum price that should be charged by the entity from a customer in special cases? Fourth, should I keep a particular segment of my business with me or should I drop it? Is one aspect that is involved. And another one, special order decisions, something like should I accept an export order from a particular customer for the first time? Probably what happens with regard to utilization of surplus capacities, etc. Now, in each of these scenarios, relevant cost concept, I repeat, is extremely critical. So we will probably be investing a little bit of time or probably an extended period of time on discussing what is meant by relevant cost and probably analyzing a few practical examples, small examples of how to apply or identify the relevant cost from a decision making perspective. Now, in decision making, generally the way the information is presented, the solution is presented is by way of conducting an incremental analysis, meaning or a differential analysis. Would it cost more or would it cost less between two different alternatives? Well, we will come to this a little later. To start with regard to the CVP analysis or the cost volume profit analysis. The very first segment deals with activity-based costing or activity-based cost volume profit analysis. The concept is very simple. At the intermediate level, we have learned a CVP based on the traditional method, wherein we do not analyze the cost by breaking it up into activity-based costs. It is only obtained at the macro level. Now, when we do it that way under the traditional system, we understand that one issue arises because the costs are analyzed essentially only into fixed and variable. With regard to the fixed cost, whatever has been identified as fixed is retained as fixed in our CVP analysis to help us determine the break-even point, etc., etc. Now, if one were to analyze the same piece of information in terms of whether it is truly completely fixed or is it completely variable. By introducing this activity-based concept, we realize that there are certain types of expenditures which look to be fixed, but then are not completely concretized or fixed. In other words, they still would be dependent on some kind of a cost driver, but not exactly as variable would be a variable expenditure. For example, let us take a batch setup expense. Batch setup expense is not going to vary depending on the individual number of items you produce. It is going to be based on the batch number of batches that you set up. If it is going to be 1,000 rupees per batch setup as a cost, now it depends whether you are going to set up 5 batches or 8 batches. It would cost you 5,000 or 8,000 respectively. So here is a situation where in the traditional system, we would have probably considered 5,000 as 8,000 as a batch setup cost, which will be retained as something which is fixed under all scenarios. But then now under the activity based cost volume profit analysis, the batch setup expenditure will not be as fixed as would be the other fixed expenses. For example, rent of the organization or whatever be it. Similarly, you can also have another example, engineering hours that is required to supervise. That is also something which is considered in terms of a behavioral attitude as replicating batch setup related costs. Therefore, I repeat, the break-even point, if one were to utilize the activity-based CVP analysis, the break-even point will no longer be the same as what it would have been under the traditional method. Because under the traditional method, the batch setup and the engineering or related requirements are not considered or are not arrived at based on the number of batches. It is just retained as something which is constant across any number of batches. Therefore, affects the calculation of the break-even point. Whereas under the activity-based CVP analysis, hopefully the fixed, well, certainly the break-even point would change because the fixed cost itself would change. That's one aspect that you need to bear in mind when you solve problems. Two, there is also something which is your CVP analysis under conditions of uncertainty. Now there, we understand that CVP analysis essentially is a management tool available in the hands of entities to probably make some presumptions or assumptions and try to work out different scenarios to understand how cost volume changes would impact the profitability position of the organization to help them make or take much more effective decisions in their decision making process. Now, when we refer to the CVP analysis under conditions of uncertainty, it is a given fact that businesses are functioning in a highly uncertain environment. And whenever uncertainty prevails, the opposite of it from a statistical perspective, in terms of certainty quotient, which is governed by the normal distribution theory, is utilized here to be able to try and figure out how to solve a CVP analysis question under conditions of uncertainty. Now, there is a question given in your study material and example. All that you need to understand as a conceptual part is that when we talk about uncertainty, of course, it indicates some kind of a risk. A risk indicates some kind of a fluctuation. Fluctuation from what? From some mean or from some average number that I would be able to achieve in general. Therefore, applying the concept of normal distribution theory in statistics, we understand that in the normal distribution theory, there is this concept called the Z variate, correct? And the Z basically variate, which indicates Z equals 0, Z equals 1, Z equals 2. Now, what does this Z refer to in particular? It basically refers to the standard deviation. In other words, how much is the population expected to deviate from the mean? So for any given population which is expected to be normal in its behavior, the average is found out and we expect the mean to be somewhere around there. But then the standard deviation helps us understand what is the probability, what is the possibility that the number would vary from the real mean would vary from the average. Observations would vary from the average that we have calculated. So when we when we say that z equals 0, z variate equals 0, what does it imply? It implies that rather the following. Prior to that, let's look at how do we calculate this z. Effectively, it is nothing but z variate equals x, which is basically the actual profit or something that we are profit or any variable that we are interested in arriving at. Okay, less the mean that we have found out in a particular given situation out of the normal population. So there is an average that is available from a given normal population that we've ascertained. Now we try to, for example, let's assume that the number is 20,000. Now we are trying to find out what would be the possibility that the average which we will actually ascertain will be something more than 22,000 or 23,000 and not 20,000. Correct? If the actual observation or the actual average observation will also be equal to 20,000, then what do we notice? Z variate will be equal to the actual mean, which is 20,000, the actual expected number, minus the mean that we have calculated based on the normal population, which is also 20,000. Therefore, the result is 0 divided by the standard deviation of that particular population that has been given to us. Now, let's assume that the standard deviation, for example, is 4,000. 0 by 4,000 is effectively 0. Now, what does this indicate? Your actual result is perfectly in sync with what you expected it to be, and therefore we say the standard deviation obviously is 0. But then, if the average result is not going to match with the expected mean, which is what in reality will be prevailing, then the result of the z variate would be, for example, if I assume that my actual observed average is, let's assume 21,000, but my calculated average of the population was 20,000, then I find that the actual mean, which is 21, less the expected average is 20, 1,000 in the numerator, divided by, if I assume that 4,000 was my standard deviation, 1,000 divided by 4,000, the result would be 0.25, which implies what? That my standard deviation effectively is 0.25 away from the average mean which was expected, the normal population. Now, there is a normal distribution curve and there is some statistical table that is given, populated by theorists, as to how much of area under the normal curve would be covered when one would actually be able to quote the Z variate. There are tables that have been developed statistically, so the numbers will be fed to us in the examination through the question paper. Just pick up the area of the normal curve. For example, as we found out Z equals 0.25, maybe the area under the normal curve for Z equals 0.25 could be 0.23. Then we would say 0.23 effectively is what is covered to represent the 0.25 standard deviation, and therefore anything beyond that would be 1 minus 0.23. Therefore 0.77 typically will be the chance that you will be getting a number in reality which is probably even over 21,000 that you have calculated. That's how we do it. Hopefully that clarifies the point that you need to remember to be able to solve that kind of a problem. You don't need to know more in detail about the Z variate and how to calculate the area under the normal curve. Those information will be given to you in the question. Now, further to that, there is another angle which deals with CVP regarding non-profit making organizations or service organizations. There's an illustration that is given to you in your study material. I guess that's quite self-explanatory. It runs very similar to what you have learned in CA Intermediate as part of your service costing or operating costing. So I am moving on with the next concept that would be required, which is CVP analysis in just-in-time environment. All things effectively remain the same as we learned in the past, except one significant aspect. You will find it in your study material. Under CVP analysis in just-in-time environment, one significant aspect to be borne in mind is direct labor is considered as fixed instead of variable. Okay, just bear that in mind when you solve the problem relating to CVP analysis in just-in-time environment. If you have doubts, reach me.